Hi, everybody. It's the evangelist Alveda King. And if you want to know who I was just talking to, I was talking to Eugene. He's on site today. I'm not going to put him on blast and put him on camera, but Eugene is in the house. And it's always wonderful when we're in the same location together, working together. Somebody just said they've never seen the intro before, and it really reminds me of the good old days. That's the truth, because we just went back through some of the many years. I've been pro-life since 1983. I'm Evangelist Alveda King, by the way, and you are watching live Pro-Life Praise Variety Show. Rob is in the house, too, so if you hear me call Rob's name and ask him to do something, and then you see something pop up. So Rob and Eugene are behind the cameras. Hey, where's everybody from? Can you kind of type in and tell me where you're watching us from, because I know we're watching you around the United States, maybe around the world. So just kind of type in your name and tell me where you're from, and we'll be saying Georgia in the house, California in the house, Israel in the house. I don't know. Everybody who's watching, tell me where you are and where you're from. This is Pro-Life Praise Variety Show. We do a lot of music, a lot of praying. And so, Lord, in the name of Jesus, thank you for Pro-Life Praise Variety Show. You let us first hit the airwaves, Lord, in April when COVID was just introduced, and we've been going strong ever since. Lord, we have gone live for these last several weeks because of this election that we have looming, and because of COVID-19 wanting to calm the fears and the tears of the people. So we thank you. I thank you for my guests who are with me today. Tampa's in the house. I had my eyes closed praying. Hey, Tampa. So come on, tell me, Dallas. Wow, this is Faith. I knew you were there. So hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us. Now, in just a moment, I have two special guests. Can you put Phil Williams' picture up, Phil and Alveda, please, just for a second? That's Emmanuel. Okay, so that's Phil and Alveda. And Phil is a music producer, and many of his videos with Little Jimmy, he'll tell you about Little Jimmy himself in a moment. He's a fabulous film and music producer, very talented himself. Hey, Atlanta. And so Phil, I have highlighted many of his music videos. I tell you, probably my favorite one is I'm the Best Man. That's probably my favorite that we've shown on Pro-Life Praise for Variety Show. But I asked today, Rob, can we see Phil's music video first? I think it's Vote for Life.
Be quiet, speak up, and take a stand. Time to go to sleep, time to be woke. Time to laugh until my tummy hurts and not think of life as a joke. Put in some good work so I won't be broke. And if I have to have no money, make sure I keep some hope. I have to make a tough decision, almost like your vote. And I bet all of us have a dream like that King quote. So to vote life will help that dream float and provide the gas and the engine to help that dream go. If all I have is paddles, I'm prepared to row. And if I'm not old enough to vote like you, I'm prepared to grow. All I know is if we're breathing, then we have blood flow. When you see my colors, see my future glow. This precious life with a purpose that needs you to show up to the ballot box and check life as you vote. When it comes to certain things, decisions on things. If you want freedom to ring and vote life. If you want our future bright, less wrong and more right. Keep God's promise in sight, vote life. If you have to pick a side, look in a child's eyes, see what they need to rise and vote life. Do we all want to survive and thrive in a 9 to 5 and keep the dream alive and vote life? I got a question about the trafficking of humans. What are you doing? Why are you doing it to humans that should be pursuing what God wants them doing? Do you see why a vote for life shouldn't be ruined? Off of what drugs and sex is doing to other humans and the foolishness some humans is spewing. I know when I'm doing it till I'm old enough to vote myself. Get you adults to vote life and get us little humans help. We need a chance to grow up and show up for ours. Vote to keep us out of the back of strangers' trucks and cars. If it's someone we know, then vote to stop them. If they're coming through the internet, then vote to block them. They need to know what time it is, so vote to clock them. We need more positive music like this, so vote to rock them. When it comes to Jesus, I vote to shock them. When it comes to the fight for life, I vote to sock them. When it comes to certain things, decisions on things. If you want freedom to ring and vote life. If you want our future bright, less wrong and more right. Keep God's promise in sight, vote life. If you have to pick a
Give life, vote life, choose life, born free, stay free, vote life.
Love us, don't kill us.
Children are a gift from God, vote life, choose life, let the children
Love us,
come.
don't kill us.
Oh Lord, in living colors, life and freedom with eyes wide
Love us,
open.
don't kill us.
Giving glory to God, choose life. Giving glory to God, choose life. Give life, vote life, choose life, born free, stay free, vote life.
Love us, don't kill us.
Children are a gift from God, vote life, choose life, let the children
Love us,
come.
don't kill us.
Oh Lord, in living colors, life and freedom with eyes wide open. Giving glory to God, choose life. Giving glory to God, choose life.
When it comes to certain things, decisions on things, if you want freedom to ring, then vote life. If you want a future bright, less wrong and more right, keep God's promise in sight, vote life. If you have to pick a side, look in a child's eyes, see what they need to rise and vote life. Do we all want to survive and thrive in a 9 to 5 and keep the dream alive, then vote life. When it comes to certain things, decisions on things, if you want freedom to ring, then vote life. If you want a future bright, less wrong and more right, keep God's promise in sight, vote life. If you have to pick a side, look in a child's eyes, see what they need to rise and vote life. Do we all want to survive and thrive in a 9 to 5 and keep the dream alive, then vote life. When it comes to certain things, decisions on things, if you want freedom to ring, then vote life. If you want a future bright, less wrong and more right, keep God's promise in sight, vote life. If you have to pick a side, look in a child's eyes, see what they need to rise and vote life. Do we all want to survive and thrive in a 9 to 5 and keep the dream alive, then vote life. Love us, love us, love us, love us, love us, love us.
Phil and Emmanuel, I don't know if you could see the comments like I could see them as they were coming up. Catchy tune. I voted life today. Love this. Phil, talk to me when you were making that video. Tell them who Little Jimmy is. And then I said, Phil, we need a video about vote life. And Phil could write a song on the back of a napkin or something. So Phil, talk to us. One, who is Little Jimmy? Why vote life? And who is
Wow.
philosophy?
Thank you, Alveda, so much for having me on. Yes, I could see the comments, and I'm telling you, I'm wiping my eyes because it's dusty in here and bringing out tears. I tell you, thank you guys for watching. But no, Little Jimmy is a 12-year-old character I created, and his storyline is that of just how God can just bless you no matter your circumstance. He was abandoned by his mom. He doesn't know his dad, and he was raised by his old school hip hop grandfather who retired when hip hop was negative. And he came out of retirement to bring positivity back to the music and entertaining our communities and our young people. And Little Jimmy picked up on that. And so now he's being a responsible young 12-year-old out there sharing these kind of messages. And it's just, voting is just so, so important, and it's just so many different dynamics of voting. But when you think of just life and all the opportunities we have, voting life should be one of your number one thought processes, because adults have to look out for our children and look out for the things that grow our children and raise our children. The Bible says we should train a child up in the way that they should go, so when they're older, they won't depart from it. And so it's us adults' responsibilities to vote life on multiple levels and think of life over economics, over all those things, and know that all these things are components of living. And so we have to look out for our future, our children, our young people. And through Little Jimmy, when you asked of that project, it's easy, Alveda, because I believe that you're asking from a different spirit. You're asking
Hello,
from
Uganda.
a different
Phil, we've got people watching from all over the world. Tell us, who is philosophy? Who is philosophy?
Well, Phil Williams, myself, I have a philosophy in life that is God-centered. I'm a conservative. I'm just a loving person, and God has blessed me to experience a lot of different things that I can share, and I share my philosophy, and I use the entertainment and I use the music to share those things, because I believe that we have to counteract the negative frequencies that the entertainment and the music brings in order for us to be effective for our communities and for our people, just for Americans, period.
So I want you to stay around for a few minutes because we open up for questions at the very end. So many people are saying they've already voted for life. If you haven't, make sure you notice I'm not saying who to vote for or anything like that. As a Christian evangelist, I pray for candidates, but I say vote for godly candidates. I will mention that President Trump is the greatest pro-life president ever, but I don't tell people who to vote for. I say pray and then vote for according to the word of the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Now, hang on for a minute. I'm going to bring Emmanuel on in a second. But, Rob, can you play Give Us the Ballot?
Give us the ballot, and we will fill our legislative halls with men of goodwill and send to the sacred halls of Congress men who will not sign a Southern manifesto because of their devotion to the manifesto of justice. Give us the ballot, and we will place judges on the benches of the South who will do justly and love mercy. And we will place at the head of the Southern states governors who have felt not only the tang of the human, but the glow of the divine. Give us the ballot, and we will quietly and non-violently, without rancor or bitterness, implement the Supreme Court's decision of May 17, 1954.
Wow, give us the ballot. That is so important. Now, show the picture of Emmanuel and Alveda. And my two guests today, both of these young men are about the same age as my oldest son, and they are contemporaries. And I'm so glad, I feel relevant when young folks can join me and we have a similar message. I'm excited about that. Show that picture of Emmanuel and Alveda one more time. I want to explain, Emmanuel and I have been out promoting films, Christian and godly films, and pro-life films. We had a radio show together for many, many years together. And I did say, because we're both prophetic, I said, Emmanuel, we're going to keep doing radio. One day we're going to have to do TV together. So here we are on End Abortion TV. So Emmanuel Boose, I want to ask this question first. You're a minister. You're very active in security and law enforcement and that kind of things. You're very prophetic warrior, husband, father, brilliant children, all of that. I could say so many things about you. Connie Evans says he's a kingdom voter. I am for life. I'm a kingdom voter. That's Carrie. Thank you. Vote for life. So Emmanuel, 50 Cent, and I don't know if it's 50 cents or 50 Cent, and Ice Cube. So Ice Cube, a lot of times we think that's the ice you put in your water and have a cool drink of water. 50 cents usually is some money you hope you have in your pocket. But tell us now, how are 50 Cent and Ice Cube relevant today with the voting just a few days away? Talk to me about what's going on in the voting world today.
Well, as you probably already know, Alveda, about the Platinum Program, which we've been working diligently to get the information out into the African American community about what President Trump specifically was doing for the African American community. And so Ice Cube mentioned the Platinum Program, and he started getting persecuted like every conservative is probably used to getting persecuted, just because he wanted to talk to both parties, because he went to talk to them. 50 Cent, on the other hand, I just got a text before we went on show with him showing if Trump is not elected, he's going to be, instead of 50 cent, 20 cent because of the overtaxing. And so I think that, that's been the sentiment I've noticed around most of the guys. I'm 46. I believe 50 cents is 50, not 50 cents, but Ice Cube is 51 years old. But everybody that I talk to, whether they Democrat or Republican, or they see that program in the African-American community, and they're like, well, wait a minute, we didn't know about this. And then you could just look at that program and tell that Donald Trump is not a racist. And I think that's what they're afraid of. They don't want anyone to really talk to him, because once they find out for themselves, they'll know that he's not a racist. They should know that, Alveda, because Alveda wouldn't be hanging around with a racist. I can tell you that.
Absolutely would not.
So that.
So. When we had our radio show and we were interviewing folks like Herman Cain, God bless him. I tell you, we miss him. Ben Carson and different ones. And we were talking about pro-life and the importance of life. And then we were beginning to tell people Social Security is in trouble today, because too many babies have been aborted. The African American community, the vote is in trouble today. Too many babies have been aborted. And so these are things that we've been saying for a while, but it's important for us to bring that information, not just for African Americans. Two of my guests today are African Americans. Remember last week we had Ginger Howard, my co-host, my co-author on We're Not Colorblind, the book We're Not Colorblind. So we are not discriminating on skin color. We have all types of guests, all types of ages. Skin color means ethnicity. It does not mean race. There's one human race. But what has abortion done to the African American ethnic group, Emmanuel?
Well, you know what? I think back when you say that, and I'll just make this clear. The Bible says, "Who my mother, father, sister, and brother, he that does the will of my Father." And I'll say this: I believe that Donald Trump in this time is doing the will of the Father because he's pro-life, he's pro-church, pro-God. But what is done is this: if we look at all of the murders, is which I'm just gonna call it what it is. I'm not gonna dress it up. What could these people have been in our society? Could one of them been the one that had the cure to cancer? And even after a woman has abortion, I remember Alveda, you telling us, and we talked about it, and you made me think, they've turned the womb into a tomb. And then the baby's hacked up in there. What effect does that have on the next baby? And then we see all of this violence, and all of this violence in the inner city. And they're like, well, how can they just go kill somebody? Well, you killing babies. I believe it was your uncle that said injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So the injustice in the womb caused the injustice in our inner city outside of the womb. And so when we look at that, I think it had a traumatic experience. And then and I believe it has to have some type of effect on that mother. And a lot of women were tricked into that. But I really, I don't understand that doctor, understanding the science. They're murderers. I'm just gonna say it, to hack that baby up like that. So it's one of the greatest injustices of our time. Because if we just look at numbers and statistics, I guarantee you, I haven't looked at the numbers lately. The amount of people that were murdered goes far past how many are being killed by police. And if the person's really pro-life, they're going to be really concerned about the unborn, and that's dear to my heart. But the platinum program is great, and that's causing a lot of people to get on board. But Alveda, that abortion issue is my deal breaker. Period.
And it has been, and it still is. Let me say this, Rob, can you bring up that book cover, the back cover of Why Trump? I've got a new book out, Why Trump, and I just want to talk about my granddaddy for a minute. Is the back cover, Eugene, did the back cover get over there, or was it only the front cover? The back cover, let's try to find that back cover, Rob. Look around and see if you see just Why Trump, the back cover. If you don't see it, that's okay. I'm going to talk about my granddaddy for a minute. And we're going to talk about African-American men. Going to talk about the family, and then we're going to open up questions for Phil, Emmanuel, and Alveda. In 1960, my uncle Martin Luther King Jr. was in jail. His wife was pregnant, I believe, and my granddaddy, Martin Luther King Sr., was doing everything he could to protect the life of his son. Of course, you could understand that. Now, there were two candidates running for president, Richard Nixon and John Kennedy. John Kennedy was a Caucasian Democrat, Catholic, and Richard Nixon was a Caucasian Republican, right? Daddy King was an African American. They would have called him a Negro back there in those days. That's the back cover to We're Not Colorblind. I don't know if we got the back cover to Why Trump, but don't worry about it. So Daddy King said this. They asked Nixon, hey, can you help get Martin Luther King out of jail? So Nixon actually said, yeah, we need to do something. But his advisor said, no, don't touch that. That's too controversial. Don't bother. So then they asked Kennedy, can you help get Martin Luther King Jr. out of jail? Kennedy actually said, no, that's too controversial. But his brother said, Bobby Kennedy, we have to do something. So then here's Daddy King, a Negro, Black, Baptist, Republican preacher. He was a Republican at the time. And he said, I've got my vote, and I've got a suitcase of votes. And I'm going to use them and give them to whoever gets my son out of jail. So there's a picture of me with my granddaddy there and a picture with me, President Trump there. So the apple does not fall far from the tree. This is my point, gentlemen. Martin Luther King Jr. was independent. He never claimed a party. He didn't claim either party. His daddy was a Republican who said, I'm going to do what's expedient. I'm not going to stay loyal to a party this time. I'm going to do what's going to help my people. And it shifted the whole vote. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Everybody knows I used to be a Democrat. I used to be pro-choice. I had abortions myself and a miscarriage because my body was hurt. Got born again in '83, became pro-life totally. So here I am, a former Democrat who was elected to the Georgia House as a Democrat, a pro-choice Democrat. And today, I'm a pro-life Frederick Douglass Republican. So the point is, you do what's expedient at the time, not because of party politics, not because of church denomination, not because of skin color. But look at what's going on in your life and vote accordingly. Right now, it's expedient to vote live. Now, does anyone have a question? And we've had people from all over the world. Thanks for signing in. Tell us where you are. Do you have any questions for either of these young men or for Alveda? My question is why Democrats are always supporting probably Planned Parenthood? And why do they put these clinics in the hood? Phil wants to say something. Go ahead, Phil.
Absolutely, man. And that's a great question, and it's a great assessment. 80% of all abortion clinics are in minority communities. It's any business that puts their business in a place, they're doing it to conduct business, to grow from their business. They do it, and then they purposely promote irresponsible sexual activity to that very same community, so that that community comes to that Planned Parenthood or that abortion clinic for a solution. They do it because they're just so not having Jesus or God or just common decency for life and living as a part of their thought process, a part of their platform. And inspired through Alveda and even Boose, because of the things that we've done, like she said, in the music, in the movie, and aspect, the entertainment aspect, I created the first full-length pro-life hip-hop CD. And the purpose for that, and you can find it on my website, shameless plug, lifemusic.com /pro-life. You see it there. I created it because the communication to the Black community or the minority community is hip-hop. It is entertainment. And it was so important to bring a hip-hop pro-life message to people that are inundated by pro-sex, pro-irresponsible, pro-selfishness, pro-choice. And they're choosing to kill. And instead of taking responsibility for their own lives and things of this nature. And so Democrats, they're just, and I don't really want to get too deep into this, but
well, you know, now I'm bipartisan and trying to work with everybody, so we're not going to make it one party or the other. Yeah. But I get your drift. Emmanuel, can you weigh in and take it on?
Well, I believe the reason why you see a lot of abortion clinics in the inner city is it goes way back to Margaret Sanger, why Planned Parenthood was actually formed, and was to do away with African Americans in the first place. It is a racist organization from the founding. We don't have enough time to watch Martha 21. You'll see the connection between her and Adolf Hitler. And so after the slaves were free, they didn't want to take care of them. So what they want to do was murder them. And so eugenics, genocide, and I call it predatory murder going on. And so they prey on people's ignorance. And so I believe that it's to destroy a group of people. And you hear these organizations saying that you know, Black Lives Matter, if they really believe that, they would be against abortion, because that kills far more African Americans than anyone. And I'm with Alveda and Phil. I don't want to see any babies hacked up. And as President Trump put it, ripping them out of the womb and ripping them from limb to limb. I cannot support a party like that. It is wickedness. Wickedness in the Bible translated means twisted thinking. In order for you to think that you have a right to take another human life is wrong. And I believe what your uncle says, that we cannot legislate morality but we can stop you from killing us with law. And so this is why it's very important. And I'm just going to say it right now, out of their own mouth, they took God out of the platform. I won't mention the party. Do your research. And then out of their own mouth, they're okay with killing. What is one of those governors? And I'm going to just say it, the governor's sick. He's sick, saying that it's okay he would execute a baby outside after the baby was
the baby's born. Hold on, Emmanuel. I'm going to come right back to you. Rob, if we can do this, we have about 4 minutes left. See if you can find that 1 minute trailer or 2 minute trailer from Marfa 21, because Emmanuel mentioned that. And while he's looking for that, if he can get that 2 minute trailer from Marfa 21, we may not have time to squeeze it in. Emmanuel, finish your sentence. If he gets that, that's how we're going to end the show. Go ahead and finish.
So when they say out of their own mouth, I'm taking God out of the platform, out of their own mouth, we okay with murdering babies. And then they sit up in there in the all white dresses, do your whites with the white dresses. And somebody asked me, well, why they got on white dresses? I'm not wrong with wearing white. I wear it sometime, but I said, this look like the same apparel that them voodoo witches have on.
So, okay, hold on. That's true. And they want to know about Bill Gates. Hit start. Go ahead and hit start if that's it. Do we have sound? We may not have sound. Let it just play a few minutes, see if the sound comes up. If not, so they want to know about Bill Gates and the vaccines and do that. Yes, they use baby body parts in vaccines.
Increasing, unceasingly spawning class of human beings who never should have been born at all.
The laws of nature require the obliteration of the unfit.
The best way to hate a nigger is to hate him before he is born.
American eugenicists were routinely praising Hitler and holding up the Nazi eugenics program as a model for the United States to copy.
Non-white races must be excluded from America. The red and black races, if left to themselves, revert to a savage or semi-savage state in a short time. The only way possible of decreasing Negro population is by means of controlling fertility. Birth control facilities could be extended relatively more to Negroes than to whites, since Negroes are more concentrated in the lower income and education classes.
We hope that the restraint of population growth can come about through voluntary means. But if it does not, involuntary methods will be used.
There should be national sterilization for certain dysgenic types of our population who are being encouraged to breed and would die out were the government not feeding them.
If this movement continues, we soon may be accused of fighting poverty by eliminating the poor and overcoming hunger by removing the hungry.
For all their failures, what the eugenics movement had accomplished was to lay the foundation for the next phase of their plan. And this is where they would find the success that they had been chasing for over 100 years.
Okay, my friends, we've gotten down to the wire. I want to thank Emmanuel. I want to thank Phil. I want to thank Rob. Eugene is over there working away. Join us next week at 3:30. We're going to have Catherine Davis and who else, Eugene? Next week. Catherine? And Jan. Who? Jan Horn. And Jan Horn. So thank you for joining us. We're going to just say bye-bye. See you next week. Thank you, gentlemen. God bless everybody. Thanks, Rob. Take us out.